In the August 14, 2019 Strategy and Business article titled Forging Partnerships to Create a Tipping Point in Sustainability, authors Lansfield and Grant showcased Unilever as the exemplar for partnerships among government, civil society, and businesses. However, it will be shown that Unilever used outdated modes of thinking, models of differentiation that no longer work. As a result, their business, the margarine business, failed. However, it will also be shown that Netflix is a prime example of what a company can do to grow its business and reach new verticals and new horizons. On display here is a small example of Unilever and the many global brands that may look very familiar to you. Global products like Skippy, SlimFast, All, Country Crock Butter, Suave, Dove, Ben & Jerry's, all, and plus an additional 12 brands that have revenues of over $1 billion each year, all part of Unilever. Taken from the article, Lansfield Grant Pullman was CEO of Unilever for 10 years, and he's widely hailed as one of the most visionary corporate leaders in the decade since the global financial crisis. His pledge to put sustainability and long-term value creation at the forefront of Unilever's business model has come to be recognized as a landmark strategic decision. In 2017, Unilever sold its margarine spreads after attempts like repackaging failed to regain lost profits. How did this happen, considering Strategy and Business showcased Unilever as the exemplar for forming partnerships and repackaging products to gain competitive advantage? In 2016, Unilever was still differentiating its margarine business based on a strategy it developed 19 years ago, 1997. Christensen wrote, Unilever more or less pursued the same strategy it pursued for margarine. It continued to differentiate its products in traditional ways. By 2013, one analyst went so far as to say, Unilever has been put on notice and will be fired. In 1978, Blockbuster stood out of all the video rental stores with 7,000 stores. In the late 1990s, a new majority of customers exposed weaknesses in Blockbuster's revenue systems, and in stepped Netflix. Netflix empathized with the new majority's need for lower rental prices and lower later late fees. Netflix started their business while their early majority was still adopting new innovations. Blockbuster and Netflix rode to success as the late majority jumped on board. The difference, though, is Blockbuster did not take advantage of the internet. Netflix did. It's short-sighted, being loyal to old assumptions, blind spots that are organizational killers. Timing is crucial. Two entrepreneurs, Kroll and Yakovitz, in their book Lean Analytics, discuss how to empathize, build a sticky, viable idea, take the idea viral, build an impressive source of revenue, scale the idea into new verticals and geographies. These concepts will each be used with Blockbuster, Netflix, and of course margarine in their innovation cycles to illustrate the importance of disruptive, innovative, and generative leadership. Empathy, as stated earlier, in terms of meeting changing customer needs. Netflix had a massive lead over Blockbuster. By 1997, Netflix was in the business of fulfilling mail order subscriptions 4 years before Blockbuster. The idea illustrates that there was a disproportionate level of thinking between what Netflix was solving and the idea of the problem Blockbuster thought it had to solve. During the mid-2000s, Unilever's margarine business began to fail. However, Netflix experienced unprecedented success. For every customer Blockbuster lost, Netflix gained 2. Netflix started streaming video content to 12 million subscribers in the year 2007. 1 year later, it was in competition with NBC, Fox, ABC, and CBS. Whereas margarine continued to fail, Netflix continued to grow, and they found the way to scale the business by reaching new markets of customers, new verticals, new geographies. It did this because it listened. It solved the original empathy problem rather than analyzing things quantitatively, which could not solve the scaling issue. Both Unilever's multi-billion-dollar margarine unit, Blockbuster's $9 billion video rental unit, failed to reinvent their business. Blockbuster and Unilever failed not because it's a well-oiled machine, but because there was no room in the organizational thinking to allow for creativity, innovation, and adaptation. Yes, they both had strong cultures, but they also remained loyal to outdated assumptions of what the customers wanted. Example of disruptive leadership set by Netflix is a prime example for what a 21st century organization should look like. In that, Netflix was able to seek out, foster, sustain a vibrant ecology as it proved a critical element of generative leadership. Generative leadership requires a nuanced understanding of the environment, ability to structure situations, and manage interactions. Of course, the article suggests Unilever is a success story. Paul Pullman, Unilever's CEO, said, "We put out a strategy that was one of growing the company and having a broader impact, environmental, social, economic. So our strategy was probably differentiated from the rest." He wanted to anchor the company firmly in United Nations development goals. So what he did was he abolished quarterly reporting, abolished analyst guidance, and sent a clear signal that they're there for the long term. In closing, there's a lot of different types of leadership out there, but most of them are not potent enough to lead change in an organization with today's fast-paced environments. Technical skills and well-organized hierarchies are impotent when it comes to the challenges of nonlinear complexity. Therefore, models of leadership need to follow generative leadership. 4 recommendations: develop absorptive capacity, integration of knowledge, strategic communication, and a growth mindset.